Let's take a look at the seemingly never-ending campaign process. Remember that in modern campaigns, candidates for national office and at the state level also, in the nomination campaign, the primaries at the caucus, if you're a Republican, you have to be more conservative to party vote. Democrats have to be more liberal in order to get the nomination. After the nomination, the candidate has to concentrate on winning over the independent center. So they're aimed at winning the final race by becoming more central. Candidates run for a number of reasons. I don't think that they necessarily run for the money because they certainly get more money oftentimes in their private practices, their own businesses. Volunteers for the campaigns focus on canvassing, getting to the neighborhoods, going door to door, getting people, making sure they get to the polls. And when they get out the vote, they're going to get those that need help to get to the polls, get them to the voting booth, into the ballot box, where they can manage to get their vote counted. Personal staff is led by a campaign manager who has help with a financial chair who takes all of the money, care of all the money, making sure that it's all accounted for the FEC. Pollsters, internet teams are very important nowadays. Communications directors direct mailers to get money, press secretaries that are going to speak for the candidate, and campaign and media consultants are going to be hired, particularly at the national level. Role of the media can be paid or free. New media with new social networking sites like Facebook blur that line because anybody can be paid to take care of Facebook and act like a blogger and get the word out. Paid media usually takes the form of spot ads, those 15-second sound bites on television that are very well controlled by the campaign because those ads are going to be negative against your opponent, positive to get your point out, contrast with your opponent, and inoculation. Exactly what it sounds like. You are going to inoculate your opponent's campaigns by getting bugs into their campaign. Free media is usually news coverage. If your candidate is doing something newsworthy, it'll be carried on network news, and that's just free coverage. It's difficult for the campaign to control that news coverage, but they all seek it. And today, you better have an internet presence, you better be able to get on email, you better get the phone messages out. That's the way that you're going to get money for your campaign. So how do you control the media? You can isolate the candidate from the media. You can hold staged media events where you control the audience. You can use spin to try to show your candidate's gaffes in a positive light if necessary. You get on the talk shows. You get on Leno. You get on Colbert. You get on Stewart. You get on Letterman. And you're going to get those candidate debates. The Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act was an update to the Federal Election Campaign Act in 1973. The biggest thing the BCRA did was outlawed soft money. Soft money didn't have to be accounted for. You could use it for any kind of campaign purpose without having to show exactly where the money was spent. The BCRA outlawed soft money. Today, the FEC is going to make sure that every penny you spend in a campaign is going to be accounted for so the people have a right to know who's supporting you and where your money's going. The political parties, as a result of the BCRA, became larger players to manage to get their candidates before the public. The BCRA does not regulate use of money. You have the right under the First Amendment to use your money to try to influence campaigns. That was strengthened by a case in 2009, Citizens United versus FEC, whereby the Supreme Court said that the federal government cannot regulate how much money you as an individual or even corporations can give to political campaigns. And BCRA regulates the use of public and matching funds, those matching funds for presidential candidates. Notice in the table, the most important point here is before the BCRA, soft money was unlimited. Now afterwards, it's banned. But there's always loopholes. Even though the BCRA can regulate how candidates are spending their money, 527 groups are groups that advocate for candidates that they cannot advocate for candidates, but they do advocate for causes and policy. And they can be their advocacy, they can give money to candidates, they can give money to campaigns with hard money. Those 527 political groups emerged to fill a void of soft money was no longer available. Examples of very influential 527 groups was the Swift Boat Veterans Back. They managed to derail John Kerry's campaign. Citizens United is a conservative group which manages to advocate for causes and policy of conservative candidates, primarily Republicans. They cannot advocate for candidates directly, but they can pay for ads, they can get full page ads in newspapers, and advocate for causes which conservatives or liberals may go along with. And those 527 groups have to show themselves to be nonprofit, 501c3, so the tax man can't get a hold of them.